Gotta say, I'm pretty excited about this piece of wood. Yes, it's cherry again, but this time it's a branch piece. And there's two parts of this you can see here. I mean, this part is going to be for a project for later. I'm going to cut this off on the bandsaw. I'm going to use this part here. This is the part I'm really excited about. I'm going to put it on this way or the other way. I don't know which way I'm going to put it on. Get it on the lathe, get it turning, and I don't know, the gouge will decide. Let's go. Going to use the trusty Hunter Tools roughing gouge. Going to take off most of this bark, get a particular shape out of it. Won't spend a lot of time with the clunk, 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 clunk. We'll skip that towards the shape of this bowl. It's going to be a fairly short and small one. Going to get most of the pith turned out, just leaving a little bit of it on the bottom there. We'll see how we go from here. So anyway, let's get this started. There is some very nice burl figurine here. This is extremely flat on this side, which is going to dictate the size of this bowl. Oh, look, you know, it can be a small one. I'm going to go from a kind of a champagne glass over this side. But I'm going to cut this piece off because this is going to be on its own. This will be the part that I'll be working on with this project. That will be for a later one. So I'm going to keep going with this one. It's a bit difficult, but she's fun. And what does it look like? Possibly like a wine cup. So it's not going to be a bowl, although it will hold things. And I really want to keep this figurine here. This burl on this side of the piece is magnificent. There's some cracks, some divots, etc., as there usually are. And this one here, I don't want to go too deep, otherwise it's going to be another ½ inch thinner. So I don't know what I'm going to do, but I think I've decided now to cut this end off first, turn it around into a chuck, and then get the inside hollowed out. So it's looking good. I'm not displeased with it, so I'm having fun. So I hope, guys, follow me along. Now normally I don't like using a parting tool, but I'm going to this time because there's not much else I can do. I just get it started. It's a catchy tool, and if you don't keep this dead straight, if you make it go off on a side like this, it's going to catch and it goes loose. So just keep it straight and keep the point facing to the ceiling and kind of lead in with the angle of attack. Now generally I don't go all the way through to the end, particularly as this thing is spinning around about 700 RPM right now. I don't want it to let loose. I will use the saw as I get a little bit further into that centerpiece and just hack it off. Okay, get the tool rest out of the way, and I've got one of these Japanese saws. Just easily just hack this right off there. Now I've fashioned the tenon on the bottom here, just a little bit of a degree on the inwards. I don't care about all this at this stage. I really don't know where it's going to go at as far as this is concerned, but the most important thing is that the chuck is going to turn this around and we'll end up having to true the outside of the piece again. It happens with this case. We've got both ends with a big chunk of wood on this. I've got that, cut that off as very early as possible and leave with just the piece that we're dealing with. We've got to turn this around in the chuck and get this all true once more. Well, if nothing else, chaps, this is quite a nice bit of wood, and we're not supposed to drop it on the floor. Now you can see here the tailstock is hard against this end of the piece, and whilst that is holding everything together with the bottom of the bowl, call it a bowl, I don't know what it's going to be at the end of the day, but it's a bowl to me. It's going to be tight in the truck here, so we've got the tailstock here pressed hard against this, and whilst that's as is, and before I cut this big chunk off here, going to get rid of all this sort of final shape happening, keeping as much of this figurine as possible. So a little bit more turning here, and then we're going to chop that off. As you can see now, it's been completely headless, and we're left with the actual shape of the, I'm going to call it a goblet now. It's not going to handle much wine or any other sorts of beverage, but it's going to look a little bit, and I like the shape. The shape's come up really well. But we've got a bit of a issue here. I was half thinking I might leave that there just for the sake of size, but no, I'm going to remove that too. So I'm going to give some final cuts here. Got to get rid of a little bit of this rotting, barking, whatever that might be on the side. The main thing with this piece is that we've got a nice looking creamy style branch that came off here. Creamy style meaning the colour of this, and of course the burl is still visible on this side. So I want to keep this. I want to keep most of it here. Some of the wormholes here too needs to go. So, I've probably got about another 1/8 of an inch, 1/4 of an inch to go. So let's get stuck into that part. Ramping up at around about 800 RPM. I'm still holding the tailstock on the bottom there. What's that? If I've got a tiny bit left, give it another hit on the old riding the bevel. Let's see what we have left. This is almost disappearing. This has almost disappeared. Give it one more shot. Now, against my better advice, I'm going to use a Forstner bit to commence the hollowing of this piece. It's not giving us a lot of room on the internals, probably about 1/4 of an inch, which should be fine. I want to get this as fairly deep as I can, probably around about 2 to 3 inches. Then we'll start on the bowl gouge. That is not the way it should have started. Good idea to have the Forstner bit and the truck certainly sitting pretty before we start addressing the timber. I'll give that another try. I've got to be very careful here and very gentle, because the whole thing is being supported by the stem. And you know what? I'm not going to go any further. I'm going to show you everything, whether it's good, bad or ugly, and that was pretty ugly, I might add. So I get the bowl gouge out and go the traditional method. It's not going to go all the way down to the bottom. This is just for show on the outside, and that's the bit that I really want. The inside is not going to be used for much more than odds and ends. So I might just add, folks, don't try this at home. A small catch and that whole thing's going to come flying off. Normally I'd have some sort of support, an all catch-all contraption that sits on the lathe. I did have one, but I broke that, so I haven't got another one to replace, particularly on this at the moment. So I'm going to try anyway. If it succeeds, then we've got a nice little piece. If it doesn't, then I've learnt, and hopefully you guys learn. Show in the comments what you think I should have done. I love reading your comments anyway, but just go for it. You know, tell me if I'm right, wrong. We're all learning here, so I'm with you. Well, I'm not going to tell a lie. Getting into this hollow, let's get some light on the subject. There we go. It wasn't easy, that's to say the least. I did have a few attacks on using the source a bit. That was a bad idea. I did use a smaller drill to go and drill a hole through this side. You didn't see that on camera, but I wanted to see if that's going to work or not, and it did. But that's as deep as I'm going to go on this one. It's not supported. You could hear the vibrations on the piece itself. It's something you're either going to do or you don't. And I've got about 3 inches on the depth left as it's going to be. It is what it is. And look, I'm not disappointed. So I'm going to get the sanding machine out, get the bottom of this piece finished off, and I'm going to use the Acks paste to make it all tie together. Sanding down the inside just a tad to 320 grit. So I've applied some sanding sealer on the inside and the outside, and I'm about to put the Acks abrasive sanding paste. So you've seen this before in many of my videos, just a quick brief update. That's what it looks like inside the can. It's a paste, and really don't know what the ingredients are, but they do work very, very well. So you just rub it liberally all over your piece, whatever you're doing, bowl, in this case, goblet, mug, whatever. And inside too, of course, and on the rim. Make sure I got the rim down to its fine finish, because that's what people see, believe it or not, when they're dealing with pieces like this. They like to see it nice and smooth and finished off. So as you see, it's liberal. Then I just give it a real good buff with the lathe, and Bob's your uncle. Well, this project was promising, and we started off, if you remember, a gnarly piece of wood like this. In fact, this was the chunk we chopped off on the bandsaw in the initial place. And what we end up with, well, I think, a very nice piece indeed. Just look at that. I mean, yeah, a bit of a show off myself, but I think I'm happy with that one. Came out really well. You can see very much closely here how that cherry burl really come out and shine on the side of this goblet. Yeah, calling it a goblet. And you got the stand finished off on the bottom. You can see it closely. That is the pith of the wood. Now it is dry, but I've got an awful lot of wood left on the inside, so it could crack too. So we'll see over a few months. Sometimes I'll bring these back on the videos when you watch them. You can see where it all landed. Left the wormholes without being filled. They're a feature. You've got to have a feature in something. And then the inside, you can see how deep it was. See how shallow it really was. So look, I'm happy with that. I think you guys probably are too. I would love to hear the comments. I always answer them, and you know, it's great hearing from you guys. So look, put some comments in there with the should have done it this way or that. Let's have some discussions. YouTube loves that too. And if you're first up, you know, please think about subscribing and liking. Helps me on the channel. So until next week, guys, cheers.